Gone from home and you've basically in your case we said it's what 4 degrees in your geyser, and you need 0.83 for that to stay in solution. But now you're at your event and it's at 10 degrees, the minimum pressure you require to keep that in solution now for the first part of the line is 1.24 bar. All right, and now if you put say 1.2 bar, or you want to be clever, you always dispense it at home at 1 bar. If you put 1 bar on, what you're going to get is 1 bar. It will only carry 2.3 volumes of CO2. So you actually get a breakout in the line. So knowing what the temperature is of the keg beer coming out, and lots of times when you're in an event, you see the keg standing in the sun and everything. I'm like, oh, as long as you serve a 2.5 bar, nothing really happens. But just to show you, just changing temperatures and pressures actually has a big impact on stability of the CO2. I think that's it for me. Questions?
Contacting beer up here for serving down in Cape, and I'm thinking our homebrew competitions at that level. In my mind, I think when I'm sending beer down to Cape, I actually need to overcarb it so it actually presents and it breaks out as I need it to at sea level. Is that correct? Or the reverse of that is I always find levels to be overcarb up here.
So typically for up here by us, we typically carb about I would say 0.1 volumes higher. So if you want say 2.5 down at the coast, you need to carb for 2.6 here. My days with SAB, that was kind of the standard as well. So any beer down in Durban will actually be done, that's coming up will be done 0.1 lower, and stuff up here will be done 0.1 higher before it goes down. So yeah, it is important.
There's a common practice I've seen from some small groups. They event their kids before they transport it. They take it down to 1 bar and then they transport it.
Yeah.
Is that an acceptable practice?
In my mind, there should be no reason if you're not served the keg. If you've carbonated it properly, it should be at the carbonation pressure that requires your volume of CO2.
But then your transport stays at 4 degrees.
Yeah. So
now you're transporting it, it's warming up. Is there value in investing in things that you don't?
No, I would serve at a higher pressure, right? I think you'll be fine serving at a higher pressure.
The other question is, not many small brewers and microbrewers have individual regulators. Would that be a benefit if you dispensing several types of beer, or would you just go for the flow of the beer?
So I think if you're serving at an event, all right, I think you serve everything at 2.5 bar and then you compensate from the taps. So this one will run faster than that one will run slower, so you can get the CO2 right. If you're doing it at your own pub and that kind of stuff, I'd say listen, if you're a purist, do it that way. Have your primary regulator, and then you have secondary regulators for each type of beer. Yep. So you come in at 2.5 bar, and for this keg you set it to say 1.6, and that one 1.8 or whatever you want to set to that. All right.
Just a question, I might be an easy one to answer, but I've seen at festivals, commercial and home festivals, maybe festivals. Sometimes the bubbles are huge. They're not as fine like what you used to, they're much bigger, almost foamy, like a bubble ball stuff.
What, in the glass?
Yeah, in the glass.
I can only think that you basically bringing your glass back, and you know the oils and stuff, and your feet and things. You basically
if you carve fast, like if you of course carve a cake fast and shake everybody.
Yeah, but for a big event you wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
Like if you last minute carving.
Yeah.
Whereas if you had a week to slowly get it carbonate, you often get a finer bubble then.
I think the bubble bath size bubbles talking about, we have certain taps that do that.
Yeah.
And there's something in that tap.
It disrupts the laminar flow. Yeah, because the one thing to say, each tap components, you mustn't try and mix them up. They actually work in that specific tap. You start blending them up. I've had that once before, or more than once. I had it at clients and that same thing, they just chuck everything in the same bucket and then rebuild taps from that, and then there's one tap. It doesn't matter what you do, it's just chaos on that tap. All the other 4 or 5 taps next to it, it's on the same pressure, same beer, yeah, it pours perfectly, no problem. Alright, so you're saying about the big bowls. So if you do spunding, I mean, in my opinion, if you're a commercial brewer, you must do spunding. I mean, the amount of CO2 you can save there is quite considerable, and also I think you get enough fuel difference and benefit from doing spunding on the bubble size and the resistance to failure on the bubbles itself when it's in the glass as well. So, all right, any other questions?
Well, I'm saying what we did as well in our cold room, because everything's at different pressures, we have different gauges with fobs as well. We actually changed the gas from pure CO2 to a 60-40 mixture. That makes sense, changing the gas.
So if you go, is my presentation still up?
Yeah, no, it's still here, I can miss it.
So just go back to like the second or third slide, to Henry's Law.
Un momento, por favor.
Excuse Julian, he's not here.
Here you go. So if you look at this, you'll see it actually reads that at a constant temperature, the amount of gas that dissolves in the liquid is directly proportional to the partial pressure of that gas. Now, for most of us, we use 100% CO2 or 99.98, so there's no partial pressures. So what you're doing is when you're using your Shermix 60 or whatever, you've got nitrogen and CO2. So it's what do you call it, 60% CO2 is 60% of the pressure required to keep that CO2 in solution. Yeah, and so you can basically run at higher pressures with lower solubility of the CO2 going into the liquid. Because there's only 60% CO2 in that solution, not 100%. So that's what they mean with the partial pressure of that gas. Because that's a generic term for it.
Yeah, sort of.
I just spoke about CO2 in general. So
Yeah.
all right. Yeah.
Okay. Right, everybody, before the ball of sun disappears, let's go up the side over here. We're going to have a photograph very quickly, and we're coming back in for Megan, and she's going to talk about brewing alcohol-free beers. Why would we even do that?